All right. Well, hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. So today we are going to be focusing on getting hired and hiring in today's kind of crazy climate. My name is Gibson. I am the director of Kiln Lehigh. And today I've got Lindsey and Luke joining me, and they are the organizers of the Get Hired Summit, which we're going to be focusing on today. So let's start with some introductions. Lindsey, well, welcome both of you, but Lindsey, if you want to kind of kick things off.
Yeah, hey, so I'm Lindsey Ivie. So I had this crazy idea a few weeks ago to do a virtual job fair, and that was just right. That's right when I met Luke, actually, and he's on the call as well. And we had planned to do one, just like a traditional job fair with Utah Women in Sales. I'm a board member of. And so we thought, well, maybe we can pull this off virtually. And it's been really cool to see what we've been able to pull off with so much help from Mentorli and Luke and their team, and Robin with the W Collective, and Julia Deaver with the Unique Foundation, as we've come together and just really pulled this off as a team. So I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. We're happy to have you. Luke, how are you?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? So yeah, my name's Luke Mocke. I am the co-founder and CEO of Mentorli, an app that allows you to connect with mentors to increase your chances of landing a job. And so really excited to chat to you guys today about the Get Hired Summit and everything that's going on there, and yeah, how to get hired in this climate right now. It's a crazy time.
Yeah, it really is. I am super excited to be on the call with you guys. This is such a this is a really cool idea. And my first kind of thought is, it's amazing that we're able to do something so important and effective right now, especially with not being able to do events. So super excited to see what you guys have planned. Why don't we kind of just dive right in? Do you want to kind of go, Lindsey, Luke, either of you, just kind of dive into what exactly the Get Hired Summit is going to look like for people?
And go for it, Luke. You got this.
Yeah, I can take this. So, this is not going to be your grandpa's career fair. We've really wanted to create an experience virtually for folks that are coming to the events. And so we've pulled together amazing companies that are hiring right now, which, by the way, there are still companies hiring in this crazy climate. We pulled them together. We pulled together speakers like Charlene Lee, Austin Belkak, Madeline Mann. Maybe you've seen Tangerine Tips on LinkedIn before. And we pulled together musical artists as well, like the Utah Jazz official DJ June. And essentially we've created this event where virtually you can connect with these folks to either get the inspiration that you need to land a job, get the motivation that you need, or just get the information that you need to land a job. And so it'll be 2 days and a combination of workshops, company information sessions, a concert, and just all of the resources that you need to get hired and make it to your next play.
Awesome. So, I mean, maybe we should talk about this. So, like a month and a half ago, we were here in Utah, especially, just like companies were hiring. Everything was looking bright. And then here we are now. I mean, numbers that came out a couple of weeks ago on unemployment nationwide are record breaking. What have we kind of learned from this? What can we take moving forward from this?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is, like, it is such a competitive market right now, right? So I think a lot of people are now just jumping on LinkedIn and they're like, oh shoot, like what's going on here? A lot's changed since I had to go on LinkedIn last and update my resume and do these types of things. So I think a lot of people are trying to figure out how, one, like what jobs are available, right? Because they're so limited as far as, like, a lot of things are shut down, and that's the reason they're on the market now. And then two, how do I get those jobs? Or maybe I have to make a shift in the way I do things. I think we're going to see, coming out of this, industries are going to be forever changed, right? We're not going to see the event space the same. I did a lot in the event space and in networking, so I think I have to make a shift there. I think we all have to be open to adapting to the new normal, right? So understanding what that looks like and what we have been doing, and being comfortable making being comfortable making that shift and allowing ourselves to open up the door for maybe a new opportunity we never would have thought of. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is just kind of being open right now.
Yeah. We all got to pivot, adapt to how we're doing things. Well, kind of going through my question list here, I suppose, but
Gibson, can I add to that as well?
Please.
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting time, right? The entire marketplace is flipped on its head. And your question was, what have we learned from it? Well, I think it's just the thing that's been emphasized the most in my mind, to Lindsey's points, and coming onto LinkedIn, is that now more than ever, your network is going to determine how successful you are in landing your next play. That's plain and simple what it is. The stats before all of this happened came out that if folks with strong networks can be up to 12 times more likely to land the job, and so when you think about your career, it's not in the old days where it's like, oh crap, I'm looking for a job again. Let me just update my resume and submit it 100 times, and hopefully something sticks. Now it's more important than ever to cultivate an online presence and a network of loose ties, folks that acquaintances that have opportunities and access to all of these good jobs, so that when the time comes that you're looking for a job, it's not like, oh, what do I do? And you're searching for a job for 6 months. It's like, okay, well, I've got so-and-so that I know that is in this job. I've got a mentor here. I've got all of these people that can help me land my next play. So again, just coming back to it, I think it's just emphasizing the strength of network is the most important thing in today's economy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I suppose kind of on that point, how can people get involved? How can people network and help with the Get Hired Summit?
Yeah, so we actually had quite a few people volunteer for different types of resources, because there's a lot of career coaches out there. There's a lot of people who are resume writers. So I think that's a big part of what Luke is doing for his company as well with Mentorli, and connecting those people and providing that resource to people, because there's a lot of talented people out there that have a lot to offer. So yeah, I think that's a good question for you, Luke, as far as connecting the dots there.
Yeah. So I guess there's three main ways that you can be involved and participate in the Get Hired Summits. The first way is by volunteering your time, and you can just go to gethiredsummit.com and right towards the bottom, there's an opportunity to volunteer your time to help a job seeker find a job. If you're a company that is just out there and can provide some resources to job seekers, you can go in and list what resources those are, free of charge. We're not going to make you do anything there. But then you can participate as a hiring company. If you're hiring literally just one intern, we want you here. To kind of give you a little bit of background, Gibson, we've been talking to a lot of schools recently, and especially here locally, students are just getting their offers for internships retracted left, right, and center. Folks can't find jobs after school, and I mean, obviously these problems persist for folks that are within their career already. But if you can offer anything like that, our call to action is just like, come to the event, participate. We'll get you in. We have a job board. We have opportunities to run information sessions. But now more than ever, we need to band together to make sure that we're helping the unemployed and folks that need a job right now get it, because in the end, it's going to affect them, but it's going to affect all of us. This unemployment curve that we got going.
Yeah. Is there something that job seekers can be doing in kind of the build up to the Get Hired Summit to kind of prepare for it and be their best selves to take the most out of it?
Yeah, I would highly recommend. I think a lot of people are just kind of nervous to put content out there on LinkedIn. But the biggest thing is going to be looking at your LinkedIn page and seeing if it does it represent you. I think so often people confuse what LinkedIn is really meant for. I've been really happy with the platform in itself is like, I've really tried to push hard over the last few years to create a community and a brand around LinkedIn. And I think even as simple as like, you've never done any content on LinkedIn before, like write an article about highlighting like the last job you worked at, right? And like what you learned from it, what you got from it. So if someone goes to your page, they can now like have something to look at aside from like, this is where I worked, this is what I did, blah, blah, blah. You know, everyone's doing that. Try to set yourself apart in some way. I would even recommend like post a video saying, hey, I'm going to be at the Get Hired Summit. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm trying to get out of it. Like, I know it's hard for some people to like put themselves out there that way, but it goes a long way. I think people want to help you out, but you have to take that first step in order for people to help you. You have to be vulnerable and you have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Completely agree, Lindsey. And I think the biggest thing to recognize is that LinkedIn for content, unlike Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, is content deficits. And what that means is that when you promote something on LinkedIn or when you post something, they promote it for you and they put it out there. And so when you want to strengthen your network, if you're posting content, go and take a look at Lindsey's content. Seriously. And when you put it out there, it multiplies and you see the reach of it expand. And so when you're preparing for this, like increase your network reach that way. And learn a little bit about the companies that are going to be at the event. You can go and check them out on our sponsorship page. Those are the companies that are hiring. Through someone that works at those companies, reach out. You can either do it on the Mentorli app, or you can do it by just going and looking up someone on LinkedIn. But go and find someone that works at these companies and learn a little bit more about what it takes to get a job there.
Awesome. Well, so talking about interviewing, kind of getting into the idea of that's like the gritty thing. So in the time of virtual interviews, video interviews, do you guys have any like thoughts, tips, do's, don'ts?
Just like make sure you have Paw Patrol going on in the background with some snacks with your kids. Buy an inflatable bounce house. That's a good one too. I think we're in such a unique time where it's like I'm home with my kids all day. Like I can't, half my calls, like Luke can attest to this, it's like they're screaming kids in the background. But at the same time, I think that it's really humanized everyone. So I think in this type of setting, it's like we've never been in this time in the world where like everyone's literally locked in their house with like their families. So I think it's kind of a cool, you can get really creative with it. Like in my mind, it's like, hey, you're like, this is me, this is my family. Like maybe be a creative as far as like introducing your kids and like, because like, I think we've never like had our doors open like this before. Yeah. So it's not like your typical virtual interview. Like, yeah, there might be kids pounding on the door in the background. Yeah, there might be like distractions, but I think just like accepting that and just like rolling with the punches and being okay with like being in a really interesting situation right now.
Yeah, and pro tip, wear some shorts while you're
right.
Business on top. You got to go business on top, party in the bottom. What was your hashtag, Lindsey?
Oh, jobs and joggers, right? So you're gonna get jobs and joggers. Yeah. No, I think for interviewing, it's they're going to be going through so many of the same like virtual. It's just you just have to find some way to set yourself apart. Like, Luke, what do you think as far as like how people set themselves apart in that type of setting that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said is great. That's the biggest thing is being yourself on the interview. You don't have to fit into some box. Right now we're in kind of the Zoom box. We don't have to fit into this box to kind of do an interview. And I think more than ever, it's time to bring your personality out because people are right there in your home with you. I think of some stories, folks that landed jobs in the same cohort that came in with me at LinkedIn. And the story that comes to mind is Jeremiah Clark. Shout out to Jeremiah. He was in a favela in Brazil when he was interviewing for a job at LinkedIn. And that was, it formed the biggest part of his his interview was telling them a little bit about what he was doing right then and there. And so find a way to connect with the person on the other side of the line by your surroundings. I think that's the biggest piece of advice. I don't think there's any magic interview tip that you can that you can go prepared. There's probably some good things to do, prepare your star stories, all of that kind of thing. But really it's just about connecting with that person on the other side of the line. And right now we're all going through the same experience. And so, find a way to connect through that with them.
And just funny story, as I was saying that, my daughter, I had to mute the call because my daughter was pounding on the door and kicking it. And there's no way to avoid that, right? Like my daughter, especially I think as a mom, like your kids will find you. They will sniff you out and they will pound on the door and they will hunt you down. So you just have to I guess I got to mute the call really quick and unmute it. And you just kind of go with the flow.
Embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, one of my favorite things is to hear all those background noises, and it's the whole oh, sorry, 1 second, mommy's on the call. I love that stuff.
Here's some bread.
Go. Awesome. Well, so how, it's so much, there's so much to the interview process that's just like that first impression. Like you show up in your best clothes, you're looking your best. And especially when you need to try to kind of make your resume really stand out and make yourself stand out and have it all tell a story. How can people right now best sell themselves, best sell their experience virtually and with all these crazy weird things? My background is completely different than what I'm doing now, and I was only really able to kind of sell myself because I was able to do it face to face. How we need to adapt? How can we do that?
Go ahead. Oh, yeah. I was just about to say, sorry there, Lindsey, you can go in. I was just about to say, if you're starting to sell yourself on the interview, you're doing it wrong. The biggest mistake that people make is not having the person that's interviewing you aware of you before you walk into that room. And so you need to do literally everything in your power to connect with the person that's going to be in the room before you get there. Because the more touch points that you have, you think about marketing, right? It takes 7 to 8 touch points before someone makes a buying decision. This is a buying decision that somebody's made. They're bringing you onto their team. And so you need to make sure that you have multiple touch points throughout this. And many of those need to be before the interview. So to Lindsey's point earlier, your social presence is so important that when they get in the interview, they're going to be like, oh, wow, I've heard of Lindsey. She's incredible. She puts out great content. Here's an opportunity to chat with her and it can be a conversation starter. Writing a note saying, hey, Gibson, I'm looking forward to coming and meeting with you today. This is something I've looked forward to for a while. Let me know if you have any questions before our chat. Those are the types of things where you have multiple touch points with that person before, not in a negative way. So it's not like asking them random questions or whatever it is, but positive way, presenting yourself so that, when you get in there, you're old friends. And it's how do we get you in instead of okay, tell me about your last experience, right?
Something that I thought was pretty cool, a company that I was applying for a few years ago, they had to do a 2-minute video, an intro video about yourself, before they even interviewed you, right? So I thought that was that in this day and age, how hard is it? It's pretty simple. You can get creative with it. This is me, this is who I'm about, this is my family, kind of a fun intro video. And maybe if you're not against bribery, just kidding, send them a box of Crumble cookies.
Hey, don't plug Crumble right now. Lindsey, she's working on a recipe on that side for the best cookie in the world. Tell us about that.
Oh, that's John. That's not, he
that's John. Okay.
Oh, it goes back to, he's a quarter Mexican. So his mom, they mix it by hand with a wooden spoon. I know my competition's Josh, but we're good with Blip. So not my competition. I'm not the cook in the family. So
got it.
Well, so I suppose kind of based on both of you guys' answers, I think and this is kind of looping back around, but another great way to differentiate yourself or set up touch points that the interviewer can know who you are is doing that LinkedIn content creation. Maybe touch more on that, Lindsey. I know you are exceptional at this. Maybe who are some people that you've drawn inspiration from or you follow yourself?
Yeah, so I'm trying to think so Scott Paul is he's amazing on LinkedIn. Travis Chambers, those two are really great. Judy Fox is another one who, she's not here local, where they're just putting out, and it's interesting because I've been doing it for probably about 3 years, where I've actually, like, when they first like released the video, and nobody was taking advantage of that. I remember one time I posted one video, the first time I ever posted a video on LinkedIn, and it got like 20,000 views. I'm like, what the heck? Like, nope. Like, I had like 800 connections. So it was kind of crazy. Like the reach you're able to get, and it's still there. Video still gets a pretty good reach, not as good as it used to. But I think the idea is, like, I'm an introvert. So like I have to do a lot of networking in my job. So it sounds kind of crazy, but the reason I post so much content is because then people come up to me and they're like, oh, I saw you on LinkedIn. So it's like an easy it's the way I trick people, right? It's like I'm top of mind, because it's easy for me to, like, you know, sit in front of my phone and post a quick video or type out a little post about some content or something that I learned. And then it's like I'm always on the top of somebody's feed. And I think if you're looking for a job now more than ever, like if you have like good ideas or something you can give back, this is more important to do that, right? So it's just being the top of mind. Because in the last week or so, I've had like 3 or 4 job offers, and I haven't even been trying to find a job right now. And it's been surprising because it is kind of an interesting job market where people have reached out and like, hey, I want you on my board, or I want you to be a part of like my CMO or whatever. Because I've been doing this for so long, it's just, I think people, like, you don't realize how many people are watching you and they're taking notes. And when there's an opportunity for a position, they're going to pick up the phone and call you, or right now they're going to chat you on LinkedIn. So it's kind of been pretty interesting.
Luke, you have any thoughts?
What was the question?
Luke's over.
I was just listening to Lindsey, and I was like, wow, that's actually really good advice. That sounds good to me.
Well, just how can we best utilize content creation? What are, like, maybe any tips or tricks or any sort of things, people that you follow or inspirations that you've gotten from LinkedIn?
Yeah, big time. So some of the folks that I follow, I love Austin Belkak. He's going to be at the Get Hired Summit speaking. Got over 160,000 followers on LinkedIn. So, you know, I'm not the only one that thinks he's good. Madeline Mann as well, Tangerine Tips. She's super good and her content is on point. But then locally here, Gabe V from Lucid and Dave Grove from Lucid. You know, obviously Lindsey, Ivie, and Ivy League. You know, so these are some of the folks that I follow and listen for their content. But I think if you're just an individual, you're not doing this for a business, you're doing it to find a job. The most important thing that you can do is be authentic. It's not about, you know, finding every hashtag that, you know, could potentially get you, you know, a couple more likes or anything like that. It's literally just about asking questions, engaging with the community. And what I found, honestly, what's going to get you a ton of reach is commenting on things. That's a lot of people just like something. That's free advertising for somebody else. If you comment, it comes back to you. So I mean, if I'm thinking right now, I need to find a job, you know, this is what I need to do. The 2 simple things that I would do is every day I would jump onto LinkedIn. I would either ask a question or I would, you know, go ahead and post something that I've learned, something that I'm reading. Some, you know, if I'm working on my resume right now and I go and look up an article online, I'm like, yeah, here's the article and here's the three takeaways. Like, that's so easy to do, literally, and the content is already there. You're just boiling it down. And then, you know, I'll comment on 5 or 6 posts a day. There's literally 30 minutes of work, but it'll increase your following like you cannot believe.
So interesting that you said on commenting. So Austin had an Ask Me Anything, and I said, will you speak at the Get Hired Summit? And that was my question to him in a comment, and he's speaking at our Get Hired. I got on a call with them like a day later, and he's on. It just shows the power of putting yourself out there, not being afraid to ask those type of questions. Just from asking one question, we got an incredible speaker at the Get Hired Summit. So
literally 2 seconds to type that out.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. So I've got a question kind of touching on what you were speaking about before, Lindsey, on videos. So this is from Dan Ellsworth, and he says, so do I need a full-blown YouTube style studio to make this LinkedIn video content?
No, I do everything from my phone. And then I use an app called Subtitle, which you can literally do it all from your phone, right? So you can take it and you can add captions to the bottom. And then they have like the feature where you can add like pictures on the top with like a title. And it takes probably maybe 30 minutes. And half the time I don't even have this light thing right now. Half the time I'm just like, hey guys, I haven't done a video in a while, but when I used to do a lot more videos, and it does not take a lot of time. And I think that's the biggest struggle people have. Don't overthink it, because you just have to put yourself out there, be authentic. Usually it's like one take. I'm like, here you go world. And then just like put it out there. And once you put it out there, it just gets easier to do. Just don't overcomplicate it.
You got to put your foot in it a couple of times before you get it right as well. Yeah, I mean, I go look back at some of my posts, my first article that I posted, and I cringed. Yeah. I absolutely cringe. But like you learn, right? And then you're gonna post something, it's gonna get 0 likes, maybe 1 like from your mum, and then, and then you learn. Okay, I'm not gonna do that again. And you go and look at other contents, and you follow other people, and you just try and copy that and get better. That's all it takes.
You can always like your own posts, so you at least get 1 like, right?
You get 2 likes, yeah, exactly.
Just comment and like on your own post.
Back in the day when I didn't have 2 likes to rub together.
Do you guys have any sort of like LinkedIn pet peeves?
Oh yeah, I can tell you one. So there's like this trend going around where it's like, grow your network with me. First you like my post, comment on it, and then connect with everyone inside the post. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like an MLM on LinkedIn. It's so bad. No offense to MLMs. But that is like, I think I see 10 of those a day. It's just, don't get sucked into that, because those aren't authentic connections. I think you're much better off like growing slower. Because like, even I've been pretty active on this, like, and I'm not at like 30,000 connections, but I'm totally happy where I'm at, because I feel like the connections I have are like ones I've actually created through the networking events I've done and through having those conversations with people. So don't get sucked into that. Just grow slow. You're better to grow your network slowly and have a real network than like an artificial one.
Yeah, best to be genuine for sure.
Yeah, my peeve is just when people try to like, you copy influencers too much. Like there are certain things that you can learn from them, but if you're just a regular Joe, and you're trying to be an influencer, like that gets me. Like I just like it when if you just post, like, it doesn't matter if you get 1,000 likes on something. If you're just authentic online, it makes a big difference, and I can get an idea of who you are. You don't have to put up a front or anything like that. Like, just be yourself. That's my thing.
Awesome. Well, looks like I'm getting some more questions. So here's another question from the commenters right now. I'm changing my profile from auditing to marketing. How can I make myself stand out amongst those who are experienced in the field? It's a great question.
So you're wanting, I guess I'm assuming they're wanting to get a job in marketing, or?
Yeah, so it sounds like they're shifting their gears, and how can they, especially now, stand out amongst those that are already experienced in what they're doing?
So I think the biggest thing is, I'm so surprised at how many people who are in marketing don't actually market on LinkedIn. That makes sense. So I think starting to put content out on LinkedIn, because in my mind, I never thought I was like a marketer, because I've always been in sales. But I'm starting to see, I'm like, oh, actually, this is marketing, right? I'm marketing myself, I'm branding myself. So I would start putting stuff out content-wise on social media. Twitter, LinkedIn. That's how you're going to stand out in the crowd. Yeah, some of the best marketers that I know, it's the director of marketing at Woolly. Some of the other ones, like they just do it. Harmon Brothers, like they're pretty active on LinkedIn now, and these are like golden people in that space. And if they're leveraging the platform in that way, I think that would be the direction I would go.
Yeah. So just so that the viewers know, I was at LinkedIn for the last 3.5 years, working there in the Bay Area before starting Mentorli. And the most performed activity on LinkedIn is profile viewing. So when you're thinking about, you know, how do I make a big impact, the profile tip that I would give is that treat this like an interactive website for yourself. Do not treat it like a resume. If you're treating it like a resume, that's the worst thing that you can do as a marketer. The one thing, I mean, there's many things that you can do on your profile to improve it, but for this specifically is add rich content to the experience section on your profile. So on every experience, even if it's just a picture with you and the team or a link to the old website, no one knows who ABC Corp is that you work for right out of college. But maybe they did something cool. Maybe there was a cool, you know, employee activity. Post a picture about that, and that allows people to get some feeling and insight into what you did.
Cool. Well, we are about at that 30-minute mark. So I suppose if you guys have any sort of closing thoughts, I guess I will say, so getting back to the Get Hired Summit. So that's going to be happening next week, right? April 29th and 30th. And you can register for free at gethiredsummit.com. And that's where you can also, if you're a hiring company, you can join in there as well. And if you get a better reach. Thanks, guys. Lindsey, Luke, any sort of closing thoughts or anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I'm excited this has really been a passion project for us. You know, we put a lot of time and energy in trying to pull this off so quickly. So I think I'm just really excited to see what happens and comes from it. I'm really hoping for the best, right? That we can help connect job seekers to jobs and job seekers to the resources they need. So we're just really grateful for the community, and so many people have reached out to help. So I wanted to say thanks to everyone who's helped so far.
Big time. And thanks to Kiln for all that you guys do to bring the community together. Now more than ever, people need to band together to help each other find jobs. It's not an individual problem. It is a collective problem. And we need to band together to do that. So come to the event to participate, come to learn, come to get your job, and we'll make it happen for you. We promise.
Amazing. Well, thank you again, guys, for taking the time to chat about all these different things. Again, next week, April 29th and 30th, gethiredsummit.com. Check it out. It's going to be stellar. I'm excited for that concert.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
See you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.